Good evening and welcome to the University of Lincoln Live Lounge. This Live Lounge is all about your application. So if you are still in year 13 or your second year of college, please join us because this is about your application and everything you need to know about your final sort of points, anything you're not sure about. So what we want you to do is say hi. So I'm going to say hi to Emma, nice name. And tell us where you're from, what school you're at, what subject you're thinking of joining at university for the autumn. And what we will do is also what we have is some amazing experts here with us today. So you will see on the screen, I've got Philippa, who is our admissions expert. So everything you want to know regarding UCAS. We've also got Harriet from our accommodation team, and we've got Catherine, who is our finance funding manager. So all of those things. Let's dispel any myths that we've got about funding and finance and all of those sorts of things. So, without further ado, hello, Philippa.
Hello, Emma.
Hello. Welcome to our live lounge. And my first question is, how very, very basic, and anybody that's watching, anybody that thinks, do you know what, I think university might be for me. What and how do they do in very quick sort of how would you apply for a degree?
Okay, so you need to apply for a UCAS. So for all undergraduate programs in the UK, we use UCAS as our application system. So you submit an application through UCAS. We've got a deadline coming up of the 26th of January, which we might cover again in a short while. So that's what we call an equal consideration deadline. So all applications received on or before that date will be considered by us. After that date, some courses may close, but they'll be subject to us meeting recruitment targets and things like that. So you submit an application through UCAS. Our team of admissions experts will assess it and they will match your application against the entry criteria and then hopefully make you an offer on that application. We're aiming to turn around our applications within 2 to 3 days at the moment, so you should hear back from us quite quickly with an offer. So yeah, that's how you apply to us.
Amazing. So can I just pick up, and I apologise if Pfizer, if I pronounce your name wrong, I apologise. This and the information that Philippa is talking about is referring to undergraduate home students, so students that live in the UK only. I understand you've obviously applied, and I'm guessing that from the information you've put, you're an international student and you are looking for a February start. What I would do is, if you can email inquiries@lincoln.ac.uk, and we will pick up your inquiry and make sure that we are on top of that for you. So please don't panic. We've got a massive amount of international students that are looking to join us in February, so you're not on your own. But for this process, we are just talking about undergraduate students that are in the UK. And the same for the next question as well. So, Philippa, so for those students, you've said those students that have applied, we've got sort of a 2 to 3 day turnaround, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But not every student will have that sort of quick turnaround. So which students would that not be the same? You know, I'm sure there'll be some students we interview. So what's the process if they're subject to interviews?
Yes, so if the course that you're applying to may have an interview, or you may be expected to submit a portfolio review for some of our arts courses, for example, there may be an audition process. So for those applications, they would they're sent to our colleges and schools and academics to review, and then they'll be in touch to arrange a date for an interview or audition, or they will review your portfolio. Once they've made a decision or you've had an interview for that course, we will then get the decision back from the academics, and then we then make the offer based on their decision as well. Sometimes it depends on how many applications are received for certain courses. So, for example, our midwifery, paramedic, science programs are very popular. We have a very high number of applications for a small number of places. So the turnaround time might be a little bit slower in terms of getting an interview date and also being interviewed, because we have so many applicants that apply. So what I was talking about earlier in terms of offer making, there will be for your courses where there isn't that additional step in the application process. So, for example, law, psychology, those sort of courses, where we're just looking at your academic profile, you could expect to receive the decision from us within 2 or 3 days.
So you've just sort of looked at, you've just talked about how you sort of assess an application. So how will a student know if they are eligible to apply for a course? So what's your best bit of advice before they submit their application? Where should they check to make sure that they are absolutely eligible? Because what we want is that everybody is receiving an offer. And sometimes students might not be eligible for every course. So where can they make sure that that information is correct, or where do they get that information from?
Yeah, lots of information out there. So we've got the UCAS website. All of our courses are listed. All of our undergraduate courses are listed on the UCAS website. It's got lots of information about the entry criteria and what you need in order to be made an offer. You've also got our own university website, and there's lots of information on there about course entry criteria. You can also contact us if you're not sure if your qualifications will be accepted by us. You can email admissions, it's just going on the bottom there, admissions@lincoln.ac.uk, or give us a call. We're taking calls as well, so pop us a telephone call and one of the team will be able to help you with your query. But there's lots of different ways. If you're really unsure, then please do get in touch with us and we can give you some advice with your application.
That's amazing. We've got lots of people to say hi to. Anybody that is here, please say hi and where you're watching from. That would be amazing. But I am just going to take one of the questions from Julia. Julia, your son has applied and got an unconditional offer, so that is amazing. So congratulations to him. What Julia is asking is, when is closing date for him to put us down as a firm or insurance?
So I'm not quite sure of the exact date, but I think it's a date in June. It's early June. So universities have to, so for all applicants that apply by the 26th of January date, universities need to have made their decisions by May. And then applicants are required to respond to those decisions by June. I think it might be around the 19th of June, but I am plucking that out of the top of my head. So yes, as long as if you put your application in, obviously if you have an unconditional offer already, your son's already submitted his application, so he needs to make a decision on that by the June deadline. And I believe UCAS do contact applicants and remind them when those dates are coming up as well, and they'll all be in the UCAS track, and where you track your application, all the dates and deadlines are in there for him to keep an eye on.
And also, Julia, another thing is, if your son's undecided whether to choose us as his firm or his insurance, that's absolutely fine, and that's totally normal. And we offer holder days. So anybody that's holding an offer, we have a whole host of offer holder days just to help with that decision making. We know it's quite a tricky decision to make sure that you're making the right choice for university. So we offer some offer holder days, and he will have been invited to those. So please sort of take up that opportunity so that you've got even more insight into the university and the course of choice. That's a bit of tongue typing. So Kaylee has asked a question that you have also been offered an interview. So again, congratulations, Kaylee. That's amazing. Is there a live lounge planned that will help me with this? It's a very good point, and there'll be lots of people out there that will be holding offers for interview, depending on what that interview is for and which subject. But I think it is something that I will take away, and we will see if we can do a live lounge for that, because I think you're absolutely right. You're a cohort of students that probably would have had lots of interview practice and mock interviews in your school and college that you've not been able to have, because we've had a little thing like a COVID pandemic going on. So I'll take that on board, Kaylee, but there's lots of support online, and so go online and have a look about the support that's there. Speak to your sort of college or school and see if they've got any support or any sort of practice for interviews as well. But we don't want you to fail, so absolutely, we will certainly help out with that where we can. So thank you for that. It's for mental health nursing, and you're a mature student. That's amazing. Congratulations. So we've talked about the deadline, and Olivia, our producer, has very kindly put that on the banner at the bottom. So the deadline is 6 o'clock on Wednesday, 26th of January, as we know. What happens, however, if somebody's just starting their application now and they're worried that their school, their references, their personal statement is not going to be done by the 26th of January? What happens after the 26th of January? Can they still apply?
Yes, so the 26th of January deadline is more of it's an equal consideration deadline, which is what I mentioned earlier. So any applications that we receive on or before that deadline, we have to consider as part of our UCAS process. After that date, universities can begin to start closing their courses if they've met their recruitment targets. So that will only happen for us for those competitive courses, like I mentioned before, midwifery, paramedic possibly may close if we've reached our recruitment targets. However, if they're still open after the 26th of January, then please do still apply. There'll be many courses that will still remain open after the 26th of January date. But please check websites and university websites for those dates, because for whether courses are still open or not, just to make sure that you either get your application in by that date, or if you think you're not going to meet that date, then you've still got an opportunity to submit it afterwards.
Amazing. Now, I know that we are a university that is very mindful that students have gone through sort of quite a tough time recently, and we are sort of looking at applications very sympathetically. Can you sort of explain that sort of process, Philippa, for us at the University of Lincoln?
Okay, so one of the things that we've introduced this year is our Guaranteed Places programme scheme. So this is for applicants that demonstrate a good set of academic predicted grades, and also a good reference and personal statement. So for those applicants, we are offering an unconditional offer, and that's an unconditional offer before we've received your final results. So we're basically saying that we've assessed your application and we feel that you're good enough for us to make you that type of offer. It is guaranteed, so regardless of what grades you get and the results that you receive in the summer, that place is guaranteed. However, we do advise you to continue with your studies. You never know when you're going to need these A-levels or BTEC qualifications in the future. If you change your mind, you decide not to come to Lincoln and you want to go elsewhere, they may need those grades for you to get in, or you may need it for a future job. You need to consider the future past your studies this year. So if you have an unconditional offer from us and you're still studying, then please continue to work hard to get the results that you're working towards, because you're still going to need those for your future education and possibly work as well.
Yeah, isn't it? It's often for your career as well, and that's what you've got to be thinking about.
Absolutely, yeah.
If an applicant has made us a choice, or made a choice, and then they change their mind, is what, obviously in advance of sort of September or the autumn, can they do that? So what if they've made their first choice and then they think, do you know what, actually I would like to go to Lincoln?
Okay, so if you've replied to all your offers and you completely change your mind about where you want to go to university, there's lots of different options. So if you, for example, we have UCAS Extra, which opens in February. So that's for applicants who have either been rejected from all their courses, from all their choices, or they've actually, like I said, changed their mind, so declined all of their choices. And you can then submit an additional application through UCAS Extra. We then move on to the summer, and then we have clearing, which many people have probably heard of. So clearing is a UCAS process whereby you can call up universities and see if they've got vacancies on a course that you're interested in. You can give them a call, give them the information of the qualifications and subjects that you've studied and the grades, and they may be able to make you an offer, a clearing offer for that course. So it's not all lost. If you do change your mind, or if you do happen to be unsuccessful from your choices, there's lots of different routes to go through after the deadlines have been met. So, please don't worry. There's lots of options out there for you. There's also as well, we offer alternative offers as well. So if you do choose us as your firm choice and you're worried about getting the results that you need, we do offer different routes into a degree program. So we offer a foundation route into a degree program, and we also offer a Cert HE route into a degree program as well. If you don't quite meet the grades of your degree program, we will make you an alternative offer if we can. So there's lots and lots of different routes for you to come into university, and lots of different, if you change your mind, there's lots of options out there.
There really is. There is something out there for everybody, I think is something I would say.
Absolutely.
If you're watching, please comment, please give us a question, please tell us where you're watching from. We want all of your questions that you possibly can. Just say hello or hi on the chat, just so that we know you're there. Obviously, our term starts at the end of September, so in order to make sure that everybody is here and you've enrolled properly, then we make sure that we give all of that information to you during the summer, after sort of all of the A-level results come in. And thank you, Olivia. We are the term starts on Monday, or Fresh Welcome Week begins on Monday the 26th of September. So I'm going to say, hold on, we've got another question. Can I apply for healthcare for a master's course?
Oh, okay. I can answer that one if you want me to.
Yeah, please.
So our healthcare master's courses, so that's nursing, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and a couple of others. They actually open in March. So applications for those open in March. Please check the website for details, because there is a short application window particularly for occupational therapy and physiotherapy, and we get again a high number of applications for a small number of places. So March opens, check out the website for the closing date and make sure you get your application in.
From memory, I think it's around May when it closes, so you've got about 2 months to apply, because the courses are so popular. But please, we welcome those applications, so please apply. Thank you very much. So when people arrive on the 26th of September, what usually happens is they arrive and they move into Lincoln to accommodation. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say bye to you, Philippa, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Emma.
And her colleague are both around to answer any questions. So if you still think you've got any questions about the actual application process, then please ask them, and somebody will be there to answer them in the chat. But I'm going to say bye to Philippa and hello to Harriet, who is from the accommodation team. And as I said, hi Harriet.
Hi.
As I said, everybody that arrives on the 26th for Welcome Week in September will, not everybody, but a big percentage of people will move into accommodation. So tell us what accommodation we have available here at Lincoln.
Of course. So we have 7 residencies here at the University of Lincoln, which are either based on campus or a very, very short walk away. So we're extremely lucky in terms of location. All of our accommodation offers ensuite rooms, and you can expect to find a double bed or sort of a small double bed, with the only exception being Lincoln Courts, which is a slightly older accommodation, and that comes with a single bed. We also have studio accommodation across 3 of our residencies. So if you're someone who maybe wants their own cooking facilities as well as the more communal areas, then we have that option as well. We do guarantee accommodation for all first year students, so please don't worry about whether you sort of apply today or right up until September and the summertime. You are guaranteed spaces with us, and then after that you can live with us throughout all years of study. The best way to get a feel for our accommodation is, as Emma said, to come and visit us on an open day or an offer holder day, or book in if you're just popping down to Lincoln one day and you want to have a little bit of a look around. Let the team know and we can get that sorted for you, or by going on our website or social media or the main university. We've got 360 tours, lots of videos, lots of pictures, and also some brochures which you can download and view.
Amazing, thank you. One of the things that people often ask me at open days, when they come to open days, is, you know, they visit our accommodation, which is amazing, I have to say. It is really nice. I don't think there's anything that isn't nice at Lincoln. But they want to know financially, actually, when will mums or dads or, you know, whoever, you know, individuals need to pay, what sort of deposit, when, how much? So what's the, you know, how does the finances work with securing your accommodation with us at Lincoln?
Yep, so I'll run you through sort of the process of booking your accommodation, because that knows nicely what it looks like. So the first thing is that once you have firmed your place at Lincoln, within about 48 hours, you can expect to get an email from Accommodation Services. And that email will ask you to log onto the student portal and put down your top 4 choices for your accommodation. So let's say you're a first year student and you'd like to live in St. Mark's. That will then come back to our allocation team, and we can see that we have a space for you as a first year and for that residency. That gives a big tick, and you get a notification coming back to you to say that there's been an update on the student portal. At that point, you're asked to make a £49 down payment. So we don't take any deposits. There's no big sort of chunk of money, which sometimes you will find that we take, and it's not something that you then get back at the end of the year. It does come off your first term's payment. So once you've got that £49, you have the option to put down if you've got any special requests with your room. So maybe you're moving in with a friend and you'd quite like to be in the same apartment, or you've got a preference on whereabouts in the accommodation you are based. That then comes back to us, and that is when you will be allocated your room. And then after that, there's 3 options when it comes to paying your rent. So you can pay it all up front if you wanted to, which some people do, but most don't. You can pay it termly, and those rent payments align up with when the student finance comes in. So you get your student finance on the Monday, and then your rent payment is due on the Thursday. Or new for next year, we are introducing monthly payments, which if you are someone where maybe a parent or guardian is going to be helping you top it up, or you've got your work that you know you've got a source of income you'd like to top it up that way, then the monthly payment might be something that works better for you. And that you will put down when you make that initial application on which is your preferred way of paying.
Amazing. So there's absolutely every sort of form of being able to pay, isn't there? So that's amazing. That's really, really good. What if, when you do the allocation, that you're not quite happy with that allocation, and you're allocated, let's say you're allocated Gateway, but actually you would like to be in St. Mark's, which are, for the viewers, are a couple of our accommodation in our offer. What would happen? If you're not quite happy, what would the process be?
Yeah, of course. So there's 2 different ways. If it's before you have moved in, so maybe you originally apply for the Gateway, you get that place, and then you pop down and visit us and you think, no, actually, I'd rather be in St. Mark's. You can just drop the team a message, and as long as we've got a space for you, we will try our best to move you to a different accommodation and sort of fix that. The same way, maybe you get your booking and you can see that you're in an apartment with, I don't know, you've met someone else through your course and you think, actually, I'd really prefer to live with them. Before arrival, just let us know. And if we can move you to a different apartment, then we will do that. If it's once you've already moved in and you started to get settled, and then you think, you know what, this isn't quite right for me, or I've made friends elsewhere and I'd like to move, then you can come and see the reception teams, which are open 6 days a week, or you can drop your administrator for the accommodation an email, and there's an option to have a room move. So we can just pop that through. We'll give you a tour of the different accommodation options, and then we can get you moved to somewhere where you'll feel more happy.
That's amazing. So you are an incredibly helpful accommodation team. You really are. I just want to say hi to Beatrice, all the way from Thailand. And I can see there's an awful lot of international students viewing today, which is amazing, and welcome. We can't wait to see you here at Lincoln. But for the process of, or for the purpose of this session, a lot of the conversations that we talk about are about UK students. However, one of the questions was around bursaries, accommodation bursaries, which I know is something that we have secured, and I think that the accommodation bursaries are across home and international students, as far as I'm aware. Right. So do you want to just tell us what those offers are for our students for 2022?
Yes, of course. So the big one for this year, especially students who will be joining us in February, is that we have a postgraduate bursary of 50% discount, and that is for 3 accommodations, so St Mark's, the Gateway and 179 High Street. If you're then looking at joining us in sort of the autumn time, so September, October, again, as a postgraduate taught student, we will be offering 25% off those same residencies, and then 35% off Gateway Studios. So as I said, if you want your own cooking space, we have that option as well. We're also introducing an offer for students who live with us on consecutive years or more than 1 year, where each year of additional stay, you will get 10% off, then 15%, and then 20%. So we're really trying to reward that sort of loyalty, because obviously we love having you stay with us.
Amazing. And the other thing I was going to ask is, what if, and it was just because I was diverted by the question there by Kaylee, because she is a mental health nurse, or hoping to be a mental health nurse. So and I appreciate, actually, Kaylee, you're probably more local to Lincoln so probably not wanting accommodation, but we have a whole host of nurses and paramedics, science students that come to Lincoln, and they have placements, and they want to know if there is any parking available with our accommodation. So can you advise, is that, I mean, we are so local in Lincoln that most people walk everywhere, but is there any accommodation that does have any parking associated with it?
Yes, so Valentine Court has parking. The way it works is that once you have been allocated your space, towards the end of the summer, an email will be sent around where if you would like to apply for parking, then you have that option. We do prioritise medical students because, as Emma said, they are the students who tend to need the car for placements and for travelling to different workplaces. But it is open to anyone, and once those medical students have been catered to, if there's any leftover spaces, they go as a first come, first serve.
Amazing. Couple more questions that I have that I'm sure are relevant to everybody that's watching. Is when we arrive at Lincoln, what sort of support is here? So I know that there was a mum that was watching earlier. I hope you're still watching. I'm a mum, and I would be quite happy to know about the support that we have here at Lincoln. So can you just briefly say about the support that we have alongside the accommodation team, really?
Yeah, of course. So touching very basically on the accommodation teams, I think it's nice to know what that looks like. You have the services side, which are your administrators, your clerical assistants who work on the receptions, and they're sort of there to support you 6 days a week. If you're just popping down, you want someone to speak to, or maybe you're not sure how to turn the oven on properly in the first few weeks, or you've lost your key card or anything like that. So there's always people there. You then have your operations side, which are all your maintenance teams. So any issues that you have, something not working quite right, they are there for you 24/7. We also have our residential wardens who sit under the wellbeing team, and they are there to sort of provide one-to-one mentoring every single day. So they work 6 till 12 every evening, and they're there if you've got any worries or you just want want someone to talk to, maybe some advice, but they also run a host of activities and events which are unique and sort of saved for students who live with us. So that's a really nice way of meeting new people and just having like a little bit of extra stuff, which is nice. And then on top of all of that, we have 24-hour Cctv and security. So say you lose your key card and it's outside of office hours, there is always someone there to come around and help you, which I think is really nice peace of mind for parents and guardians as well as students living with us.
It certainly is. Emma has asked a question. Hi Emma. In Signet Wharf, is there an area where students from different flats within the building can socialise? So once students are there, that's a very good question, actually.
Yes, so we don't have one big communal area which is built into the accommodations. As Emma said, there are communal spaces per apartment, and then we're very lucky with the outdoor spaces. So at Signet Wharf, for example, there's a lot of outdoor seating area which students can utilise in the warmer months. But with Signet Wharf and with a lot of our accommodations, they are very close to the other facilities on campus, such as the Swan Pub or the TP or Minerva Building, which are all very social areas where students choose to study, where the residential wardens hold their events, or where you can go for sort of a nice drink or some food. So though we don't have them, we sort of make the most of what the university has, which is all very, very close to the main accommodations.
It really is. And as Harriet has already said, please, if you want to view the accommodation, come and have a look. We have a whole host of offer holder days. If you're holding an offer, then come along. We have informal visit afternoons on Wednesdays. They're advertised on our website, and I'm sure if we contact the accommodation office and you can't fit into any of those days, then we are very amenable to sort of bespoke tours as well if needed, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you absolutely can come and have a look and sort of see Signet Wharf for yourself, Emma, and sort of get a feel for it, because they've got some really nice, the kitchen areas are lovely in Signet Wharf, really nice, and amazing views as well, amazing views from there. So I would like to sort of just finish off with you, Harriet, before we go and meet with Catherine about sort of all things finance and funding your degree. When we've absolutely secured, we know where we're going, we've got our results, we absolutely know we're coming to Lincoln, and as we know, the 26th of September is going to be our welcome week. How do we sort of move into our accommodation? Do we just turn up on the 25th, or is it a little bit more organised than that?
Yeah, please don't just turn up on the 25th. I think you'll send the team into a big panic. So a few weeks before the arrival process starts, you will be sent a induction, and we ask you to log on to there and make sure that you sort of go through it all thoroughly, because as part of that, you will be asked to book an arrival slot. So over the arrival period, we're looking at about the 16th of September to start this, but it will be confirmed nearer to the time. There is a 10-day arrival period, which is contract free, so you don't pay for it, and it doesn't sort of matter which day you choose to move in. It's whatever's going to work best for you. So you're asked to book a 1-hour arrival slot through that period, and you will also get arrival instructions. Please make sure you read those really thoroughly, because it might ask you to go to a holding area where you need to collect your key, or it might ask you to go straight to your residence. When you arrive on the day, hopefully on time with that slot, you'll be given a space for the 1 hour where you can offload all your belongings, collect your keys and get settled in. And then we'll point you out to alternative car parking where you can go and park and sort of spend the rest of the day if you wanted to.
Amazing. And one final question from Annabelle. In St Mark's accommodation, are first year students placed together in flats?
Yes, so we will always allocate first year students with other first year students, and the way it works, especially with St Mark's, because we're so fortunate with the amount of blocks that we have here, is that first year students will be allocated to a block together. In other accommodations, it might be done as flats, but you will definitely not be mixed with other students who are returning. Another thing to point out is that Signet Wharf is first year only accommodation. So if you are thinking, you know what, actually, I'd rather just be with first years for my first year, then Signet Wharf would be a really nice option for you.
Amazing. And I'm just going to pick up on Emma, who has actually secured and booked her accommodation in Signet Wharf. In Signet Wharf. And so that's amazing. But you've also asked another question about social media pages and platforms. And you're absolutely right, because that was one of our next things to sort of mention. The once you are an applicant and once you are wanting to, you've secured and you've done everything, Emma, you're well on the ball. There are lots of platforms, and I know there is one for accommodation particularly, Harriet, isn't there, where applicants can meet people that are likely to be living in the same accommodation and things like that. So can you give us a bit of an overview of what and how and where Emma should go to sort of join that group, really?
Yes, of course. So this is actually run by our residential wardens, and there are private Facebook groups, so that once you have been accepted into your accommodation, you can choose to join those, and then we'll check that you are definitely living in that area and we can accept you in there. And once you're in, you can start talking to different students and meeting some people, hopefully, which is really nice. The best thing to do, I don't think they've quite gone live yet because we haven't started allocating students yet. So the best thing to do is just make sure that you're giving us a follow on social media. The same with the residential wardens and the main university, and as soon as they're ready to go, we'll let you know and you can get joined.
And any other platforms, Emma, not just accommodation, there are lots of others platforms, so sort of course pages, just applicant pages. So if you join something that is called Friends for Life, thank you very much, Olivia. We have something that is called our Friends for Life scheme, and that is literally, you can make friends instantly, and they will be your friends for life. So all you need to do is visit lincoln.ac.uk/friends, and that takes you into the platforms that will be those students that are applicants and offer holders and sort of unconditional offer holders, whatever status you're in, so long as you're an applicant, you will be in there and you can make conversations on all of these platforms. We have all sorts of themes going and running through between now and sort of October. So absolutely get onto as many of those as you can and start your university experience and join the Lincoln community now. So Harriet, thank you so much. A whole host of knowledge that you have about accommodation, and so thank you ever so much for joining us tonight. I am going to say bye to you, but also hello to Catherine. And Catherine is our student funding manager here at the University of Lincoln. And whilst all of our swanky accommodation and coming and joining university and getting all excited about Welcome Week and all of the things that we offer here at Lincoln and being a student is great, we need to know how we afford that and how on earth we fund our university experience. So now I know that student finance isn't open yet, Catherine, but can you explain sort of very brief terms around the sort of process and what's sort of involved and all of the things around finance, really?
I can. Well, I can try. Okay, so the most important thing is, as Emma just said, is to apply on time. Okay, so applications will open usually middle of February, can be a little bit later, can be a little bit earlier. Just keep checking that gov.uk website for Student Finance England, and you will suddenly see that applications are open for 2022-23. That's what you need to be looking for. As soon as they open, then you need to make your application and you need to apply as if you're going to your first choice. That way, it will give you the opportunity to submit all the supporting evidence that they're going to need to make your application. So to make an application, most students are going to need to send financial evidence from their parents or family household people. Okay, so you need to provide that evidence. Now, there's lots of fabulous instructions when you get to the application. It's brilliant for tending you through and what you need to apply for. Now, provided all of that information has been sent to Student Finance England before the 31st of May, then they have time to do all the assessments and make the application, which means that you should get your first instalment of your student loan 3 to 5 working days after teaching starts when you've enrolled.
Amazing. What, as a potential student or even as a parent that might be watching, what sort of evidence do you need to hand before you start the application? So is there anything, there'll be lots of people that will have friends that say, well, you need this, pay slips and all sorts of things. But what actually do you need for a 2022 application?
You do. You need to have your passport if you've got one. That's the easiest thing to identify who you are. And you also need, for most people, your P60 that you will have received. You've already got it now. So what year would that be? 2021?
Yeah.
That's the one, because you've already got it. That's the P60 that they'll want. Now, if you're self-employed, you'll need to get the tax returns from your accountant for the same time period.
Amazing. Fabulous. Thanks very much. That's a good bit of advice, because the worst thing to do is you sort of start an application all ready to go, and actually you're sort of like searching the house for your passport. So they can start looking for the passports before funding opens, can't they? Obviously, when the assessment is made and we know what a student or family will be entitled to, when and how is that money allocated?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a means testing that's applied. So how much student finance each student gets can be really, really different. Okay. And that's really one of the reasons why it's so important to find out and do your applications as soon as possible, because you've listened to Harriet, you're going to think about what your accommodation is. You're going to want to start planning. Now, when you make your application, it will be paid. So they'll tell you when it's going to be paid when they award it. And it's usually paid, as I said, 3 to 5 working days after teaching starts. Now, that's actually the week after Freshers' Week for planning purposes. You've then got one payment at the beginning of January, and then it will be after Easter. So that's slightly more variable because it depends on when Easter is. But it's split, roughly speaking, into 3 equal installments, roughly, through those 3 payments. So you've got to try and make that money last basically for 3 months at a time, which is tough.
It really is. So actually that's going to be my next question. Obviously, budgeting for an 18-year-old is a tough call. Is there any sort of tools that you would recommend about starting to sort of plan and think about how you would manage your money and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really, really different, and it's really new. And at no other point in your life do you actually get paid upfront 3 months in advance. It's so unusual. And you're going to have all this money all at once, and you've got to really manage it. So the most important thing is that accommodation. Usually, student accommodation is lined up the payments with when you're going to get your student loan. So that's hopefully a little bit easier. So you should have what's left to be able to manage. Now, there are some fantastic budgeting and tips out there. I'm going to give you some that I really like, and that if you look at Which, look for student fund budgeting tools and things like that on Which. Martin Lewis, money saving expert, information for students is superb, and I recommend everybody goes and has a look at that. It's got the most amazing things. And also the student room. So if you look at the student room, there's some fabulous information on there as well. It's just really important to take a little bit of time to work out how much money you've got, what you need to pay for, and then you won't get any nasty surprises that you weren't expecting.
That is great advice. And also anybody watching, if you go onto our website, we have the process of UniBuddy, and there's lots of students that are on there. Go and ask them all sorts of questions around how they manage their money, very peer-to-peer. So you sort of have a real experience as to how people manage their money and their finances by being a student, because there's some amazing tricks that students do, and all sorts of different things. And there's all sorts of apps these days where you can sort of allocate your money and your spending, and having money by Christmas for your Christmas parties and your Christmas social events is, not having money for that can be quite disappointing, can't it?
Yeah, so, absolutely. Do your planning and make your choices. Choose what events you want to go to. Think about it. Yeah.
Think very, very wisely about how spending your money in Welcome Week, and getting some money and some cash, saving those 18th birthday money and things like that before coming to university, so that you've got that best opportunity.
Yeah, I would say actually, if you are able to work during the summer before you come to the university and have some money in your bank account to be able to enjoy the most amazing opportunities you'll get during Freshers Week and Welcome Week, all the things that are going on, so that you can budget based on your student loan and enjoy the money you've saved on the socialising that's going to happen during that first week.
Absolutely. So Harry has asked a question, Catherine, so I'm going to share that before we sort of wrap up for the evening. Do I 100% need a passport in order to get student finance? My passport unfortunately expired a few months ago, which I'm guessing lots of people have, Harry, because we've not been travelling anywhere.
No, you don't. You don't need your passport. You can use your birth certificate. It just takes a little bit longer. What you have to do is demonstrate that you're a UK national, basically, and the passport is the simplest way to do that. But no, if you don't have your passport, there are lots of other alternatives, and all the information is on there on the gov.uk website. But yes, you can use your birth certificate. You don't have to have your passport.
Amazing. Thank you very much. So don't search your house for your passport. Go and check your birth certificate. Thank you so much. I know we've had a whole host of questions this evening, and for international students, please hang on. I know that the university is working tirelessly hard to get back to you. They are absolutely working around the clock, and they will definitely get back to you with your questions, definitely about your UCASs, definitely for those people that are starting in February with us. We are very excited to see you here in February, and definitely those of you that are going to join us in the autumn. But please bear with us. The volume of messages and calls is immense at the moment, but we have not forgotten you at all. I can assure you of that. So I'm going to say thank you ever so much, Catherine, and thank you to Harriet and also Philippa this evening. Please use our tools. We have a whole host of platforms. We have lots of social media. If there's something that you still want to ask us, then ask. Email us on enquiries@lincoln.ac.uk, and we will certainly forward that out to the wider university, and join any of our sort of social media platforms, because there's a whole host of information there, and we will do lots of these to ensure that we give you all the information you need in the run up to enrolment and joining us in the autumn. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all very, very soon. Thank you. Good night.